For me, in a way, that was really David's process. Mine was a process of real submission and trust in him as the visionary that he is. But you could see with the way he was approaching the sets and the costumes that kind of like was cranked ever so slightly differently, So there was a familiarity to the world, but also it kind of had a kind of slightly more modern composition to the way he was capturing this stuff and how we were able to move and talk, and there was a looseness to it that I was like, wow, this is awesome, particularly for me in the way I was kind of talking. I was kind of throwing it away like I would in a very modern piece. I wasn't, putting as much weight on the words, and that's what I spoke to him about. I was like, how should we do this? How do I do it? And he's like, no, just kind of try and exist and bring as much truth to it as possible. And it's a testament to him. He's kind of managed to strike this balance. I think a lot of story tales around this era, they focus on the clashing of swords or whatever that is, but this is focusing on the more psychological journey aspects of the story. In a way, it's far more complex, and it really does more justice to the complexities of this poem and the kind of the questioning of fate and ambition and the chivalry code of the time. Particularly for me as a young actor, I could draw a lot of parallels of my journey in this industry, and being ambitious and trying to balance my life and the ego and masculinity, all of that stuff. I could see all the threads in there. Completely. I mean, the extents we went to, David, we have the entire crew trudging in wellies through streams and rivers, and we're making improvised pulley systems to get camera equipment up and just to get the shot. But it really, every frame's a painting in this film. You look at it and it's just like, there was never a moment where I was, I didn't either have a great scene partner and, Joel and all the rest of the team, or, you're just in this costume and it makes you sit differently, stand differently. A lot of this is about a young man romanticizing this knightly quest, and then all of a sudden very quickly realizing how brutal nature can be, and how humbling he gets humbled by it. His ego at the start of the film is totally bashed from him very quickly, and I felt that. I was trembling, on my horse. I was cold and wet and damp, and it was a physical process. And David's films really explore time in a beautiful way, and as a performer, you rarely get to feel time, in scenes, because there's it's exposition, and there's an editor's hands that really comes in. But in this, the way we shot this, David kind of sits and lets the scene really play out sometimes, really just puts you in a spot and he's like, okay, now you try and get out of this situation. Your hands and legs are tied. And